Catch her off guard. Thank you, Commissioner Carey.
Here.
No, I said thank you. Oh, sorry. I would like to call the meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the Recreation and Parks Commission, meeting on November 12th, 2024. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Commissioner Carey,
I'm still here.
Commissioner Batterson,
Here.
Commissioner Diaz,
Here.
Commissioner Godino,
Here.
and Chair Lopez.
Here. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes. I'd like to request to approve the minutes from October 8th meeting. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Having heard the motion and second, is there any discussion to approve the meeting minutes? All those in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, our next item on the agenda is new business. We will discuss the revenue and cost study for
Public comment.
public comments. I'm sorry. Or do we have any public comments?
Yes.
Okay.
First, we have speaking Cynthia Lara.
Thank you.
How's that? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much. My name is Cynthia Lara. I did provide a handout for you for the Buena Vista Beautifiers. So it's been a while since I last spoke to this group about our grassroots organization, the Buena Vista Beautifiers. Is there an echo or is it just me? Okay. Should I move back? Time flies, and as I said in a handout, we're looking back with gratitude at 8 years of partnership with Rec and Parks, and we greatly appreciate all the support you all have provided in so many areas. I'd like to thank some special people, Dennis Smitherman, who's always been very supportive, thank you, and Commissioner Carey, who's one of our longtime members, probably a founding member. Like her, our members are from many different organizations: Rotary Kiwanis, the Minerva Club, Museum, Friends of the Library Altrusa, the Baha'i and United Methodist Churches, but we all share a strong love of Buena Vista Park, our historic park. If you look at the first page, 3 years ago, we were able to start a little free library with the help of Trinidad and the crew in the annex. We have 5 dedicated volunteers that fill the library every week with books from toddler to high school level, and it's still standing, and we hope to keep going. The last pictures on that first page are our banner and also a clip of one of our larger Family Day events that we have been able to do under the umbrella of Play Inc. So we've appreciated the mobile van and all the personnel who helped support us, Carly, Alex, the Rangers, and Gabriel and his crew for all the facilities support. And we also had many other community supporters who are listed on the next page. So we've gotten to make some great connections. If you turn the page, the next picture shows, illustrates one of our goals, which has been to involve youth and our future constituents in their community park. So we've had the pleasure of meeting many of the fantastic young people in Santa Maria. We've worked with FFA. Their students have attended our meetings as student representatives, and they also helped to replant the biobasin with the help of the landscaping crew, and that's what that picture is about. But we've also had FFA Key Club and the Adams School Kiwanis kids have worked all our events, set up, take down, and done activities. And we really couldn't have done it without them. So it's really been a wonderful opportunity for us to be involved with youth. Not in the pictures, but I also wanted to mention that our group, looking back over 8 years, that we did help to raise $5,000 under the umbrella of Play Inc. and with everyone's support to purchase a shade structure for the park, because that's something that still continues to be very important for people. We try to spend as much time in the park as we can, and we've heard so many positive comments about appreciating the beauty of the park and how it's been maintained since it was redone. And the soccer pitch has also been an incredible addition. That's been fantastic. But we also continue to hear wishes for amenities that make the park better for families, like what makes a park a park? Tables, more benches, more seating, and also better access to the restrooms. Finally, ending our handout is Charlie Brown and Friends. So thanks to Mario Aoyoki and his crew. They're doing such a great job of installing Charlie every year and keep the holiday spirit going. We're looking forward to our next event on December 8th from 1 to 3. And we want to wish you all happy holidays. And thanks again. I'm happy to answer any questions if you do have any questions.
Thank you, Cynthia. We do appreciate everything that you do for the Buena Vista Park. Are there any questions, comments?
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Commissioner Godina?
Sorry, yes.
No, it's okay.
You said better access to restrooms. Can you explain a little better? Like, what's the current condition, and what are you guys looking?
Well, it's been
Or-
that they've been locked a lot, and I know possibly sometimes people are sleeping in there.
Oh.
But I try to go like every, once a month or sometimes twice a month, and they've been locked. That's possibly a fluke, but that's... So I haven't been able to look at the condition.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Did anyone else have a question?
Commissioner
I just had a little comment regarding the Charlie Brown and Snoopy's.
Oh,
If everybody could see, too bad you guys can't see them in the audience, but they're going to be up from, what the
the week of
the
Thanksgiving.
week after
Be-
Thanksgiving, they'll be lit.
Yes.
And they'll be lit all the way through the holiday. So it's so much fun to see them lit
Mm-hmm.
at night. It's just like this special little glow in the park. So you can even drive by it. And you see families there all the time taking
Mm-hmm.
photos. It's just the best. Anyway.
Even
thank you.
during the day. They
Yeah,
like to go
yeah,
take
even
pictures.
during the day, totally.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Are there any more public comments?
Yes, next we have Mr. Lee Steinmetz.
Good afternoon, and I'm also with the Buena Vista Beautifiers, and you should have a handout that looks like this as well. And I just wanted to share with you one of the things that we did at the last family gathering in June, which is we just had a table with, oh, I left it back there, but we just had a big piece of butcher paper on the table and markers. And we just asked people, I'm going to leave this with you if anybody wants to look at it in greater detail, but we just asked people 2 questions, and they could draw, they could write whatever they wanted, but one of the questions was, what do you like about the neighborhood? And the other question was, how can we make it better? And we got a lot of comments on that. Before I get into this, I just want to say that Buena Vista Park is such an incredible treasure for the city. It really acts almost like a town square or a plaza for the neighborhood. And there's so many families in that area that live in small apartments, don't have backyards, and that's really their access to open space. So it's a super valued space for the city as a whole, and especially for that neighborhood. If you look at the responses, what was really interesting on this side about what do you like about the neighborhood, just about every single response was about the community, that people like the people that live around them, that they feel like their friends treat them like family, that everyone's really friendly, that they really like the community. And I think that's just a fantastic foundation to have for any neighborhood, that's the first thing that people think about when they think about what do they like about their neighborhood. And interestingly, there really weren't any comments about the physical attributes of the neighborhood. It was all about the people. If you look at the other side, and how can we make it better, there were a lot of comments about physical attributes, and there's 3 that I want to mention related to the park. One, as Cynthia mentioned, is tables. Another is shade. And then more garbage cans was another one that was mentioned quite often. And I have to say that the desire to have the park be clean was both something that people want and saw as perhaps part of the city responsibility, but they also took it as their responsibility, that this is something that we need to make sure that we clean because we care about this park. So I think there's an opportunity for partnership there. Also, there was a comment about the dog stations and making sure there's cleanup bags available there. There's one comment that really isn't the responsibility of parks, but I wanted to bring it up anyway, and that's this one: we could have better streets, especially for the kids going to school. And a lot of times you'll hear about safe routes to school, which is really kind of a public works responsibility, but I also think it's important and something that you could partner with Public Works on to have safe routes to parks, especially in neighborhoods like Buena Vista where most people are walking to the park, is how do we make sure that's safe for everyone? So anyway, I just wanted to share with you a summary, and I'll leave the full paper with you, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you so much for coming up here. Are there any comments? Thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
Are there any more public comments?
Yes, we have one last comment from Mavis DiParini.
Good evening. My name is Mavis DiParini. I'm here to get something off my chest since July about the cancellation of Zumba Gold and chair aerobics held at Elwyn Muscle Senior Center. Old Lives Matter group came together to fight the cost of the class fees being raised from $20 to $44 since March. The class members were fighting the fees, not the instructor. In June, there was a flyer posted effective July 1 that the fees temporarily were reduced to $33 and then $44 for non-residents. Temporarily, that came true because mid-July, both classes were canceled. During Active Aging Week held in October, they had on their schedule to hold online senior fitness, chair Pilates, cardio boxing, and HIIT with weights. What a joke. Why would any of us want to go there to do exercise by watching on TV, especially since there may not be instructors to check falls or accidents? The 2 classes that were canceled were geared for seniors, and there is an instructor watching us to make sure we're making the movements correctly. I want to say shame on Recreation and Parks Department for harassing our instructor and canceling our classes. Our instructor was teaching the classes on 8 years now. Shame on Angela and Dennis for letting us know that seniors don't need to be concerned with the budget and for not showing any compassion. I want to say thank you to St. Peter's Church for allowing us to rent the room to have our aerobics classes for 2 weeks in August. I want to say thank you to Kathleen, our instructor, who did receive Senior Worker of the Year for Santa Barbara County, and for her tireless efforts in finding a place that would take us seniors and allow her to teach the same 2 classes. Thank you to Crunch Fitness for showing compassion in hiring Kathleen and giving us a good rate for membership. Our classes are on the same days of the week and at the same time of the day. We have more bang for our dollars. And thank you for Senior Nutrition on waiting for a few of us to get out of class and drive over for the lunch meals and to still socialize. According to Recreation website, the Elwyn Muscle Senior Center is a vital resource for seniors who want to stay active, engaged, and connected to the community. The center provides a range of services and activities that are designed to meet the physical, emotional, and social needs of its patrons. The atmosphere at the Senior Center is different now. I don't believe the above mission statement stands true. I believe in the near future, the center won't be just for seniors. The seniors have bonded together as family. We are enjoying our classes at Crunch Fitness, and our instructor is much happier there. I notice also at the center on Food Distribution Day that, some of the elderly, it's hard to carry 4 bags of groceries, let alone 2 bags of groceries. And someone noticed that the young rec and park workers were sitting around drinking coffee. Now there's a gentleman by the name of David, our age, and some of the older ones, they'll offer help to carry our groceries to the car. But other than that, they were noticed that they're just sitting around having coffee. Maybe they were on a break, or maybe it's not in their job description. I would think it would be common sense or common courtesy to be kind to help the seniors carry the groceries to the car in the parking lot. Thank you. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Ms. DeBraney. Are there any more public comments, Shannon?
No more public comments.
Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is now new business. We will discuss the revenue and cost study for the recreation and parks. Mr. Smitherman, please provide us the details.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. You'll see in front of you a packet. It does say draft on the front. I just need to reiterate that as we walk through this a little bit tonight. We are finalizing some numbers, and this will come back to you at a future date, possibly for a meeting outside of a regular meeting to go over some of these and get some more input. But I want to share with you the process that we've started to review our cost as a department and offering programs and services throughout the entire department. So that includes youth, adults, teen, family. It includes aquatics, sports, both adult and youth, and many of the other programs we run. So this 10 pages you have in front of you is really detailing the cost, both direct and indirect. So not only our day-to-day supplies and equipment, but the staff that goes along with it, the facility that goes along with it, or the park, depending on the location. And many of those costs that a lot of the times we don't think about when putting together a program. So you'll see we have our typical costs in there would be salaries and wages, could be maintenance and operations, and also overhead as well. As you know, typically in most industries and businesses, you'll see salaries being probably the highest expense that we have, and it's no different in the government setting as well. If you switch over, and I'm sorry to page 5, it is a very small graph. And again, I want to reiterate that this is a draft. We're working with Eric from Revenue and Cost Specialist. He is a contractor that has worked with city on multiple occasions citywide through every department. We went through this back in 2019, reviewing these costs and the revenue offset. And at that time, the Library and Recreation and Parks Department didn't move forward through the city council process at their request, but we'd like to bring it back to them with your input and approval. So this is an initial review of the document, and then we'll come back to you with further detail. And if you have specific questions, I'm happy to answer those at the end as well. So on page 5, you'll see a couple of different things, and of course, I forgot my glasses. So I'm gonna do my best because this is tiny. But you'll see what a typical revenue comes in for these programs. This is over the course of a year, and our expenses. When we show you, when we get our numbers more finite, we're gonna be able to show you exactly every expense for every staff person, every expense for operations and maintenance. All of those are gonna be broken out individually. Here, they're kind of summed up. And again, we're still finalizing some of those numbers to get you a more accurate information. But overall, you'll see, and I'm gonna look at Angela here because I know she looked at this recently and I can't read it. With the numbers here, we will see some variance, but it's not going to be drastic. So Angela, and I know you just looked at this, can you go over the subsidy? Thank you. And I appreciate this. It's
because I brought my glasses today. So if you take a look at the column 1, that's the overall program cost to stand up the cost. The direct costs are full-time employees, so on and so forth. And so that third column is the total of just the putting on the program itself. The third column would be the cost for facilities maintenance and any indirect costs associated with it. The 6th column, I know it's tough to read, but that 6th column is the total wrap-up of all of the costs combined. So that's program costs, indirect costs, maintenance costs, cost to clean the restrooms, so on and so forth. If you take a look at the sum total on the bottom, the total cost for each of these service areas is approximately $9.9 million. The estimated revenue that, again, is being worked on, and we're kind of fine-tuning that number, is approximately $800,000. The direct cost recovery, so in these last 3 columns, these represent the recovery percentages. So for example, adult sports programs, the program recovers about 40% of the cost in direct, for the direct cost to put the program on, and about 26.8, boy, that's small. The 9, there you go. And then the third would be facilities maintenance. So the accumulated total cost is that revenue line, and this third one is the kind of the breakdown of that. So as you can see with our youth programs, for example, they're very heavily subsidized, but then we tend to offset some of the swimming programs a little bit more with cost recovery. So do you have any questions about just kind of the framework of the spreadsheet?
I have a question, Angela. So the percentage on the facility maintenance says, for example, 24% for a sports program. That's a percentage of a revenue?
That's the percentage of a revenue for a fee that we would collect if we were renting out a space, for example.
Thank you.
So I'll turn it back to Dennis.
Thank you very
You're
much
welcome.
for that. I appreciate that. A couple of things that we will also look over more closely is how we're marketing. We've talked about marketing in the past at these meetings and what we do to get the information out there. We realize a lot of the programs that we run are highly market sensitive, so it really will depend on what our customer, what our public is interested in doing and what we run, and that's why we're doing a leisure needs assessment right now. So we'll be able to use that as a tool to help determine what the community is interested in. And the pricing as well. You know, we do look at keeping our costs low through most of our programs, but there is still the cost that's being offset right now by general revenue funds that we need to look at closer. So overall, what you'll see in the next coming months is a more detailed version of this. The sheets are much bigger and easier to read, I promise. It breaks down not only the individual cost. I will pull one out here, for example. This is adult sports. I just turned to that one. It's still little. I still have to hold it pretty far away. But we look at adult sports. It breaks down the cost into areas, including you won't see this in your packet, sorry. Just giving you an example of what you will see in the future. But wanted to share with you some of the ideas is community outreach coordinator, a certain percentage of that salary, who's the one out there doing marketing at our street events or downtown Fridays or all those different locations. Right now Karen is doing a great job. She's out there pitching all of our programs, so a certain percentage of her salary of course, would come out of adult sports. We have our facility specialist, which we call program specialist, who's actually responsible for the day-to-day running of that program. Currently, that's Sarah Voss doing a great job. We have a graphic technician that puts together every flyer, every social media piece, a lot of presentations that we do, they assist. A portion of that salary is allocated to adult sports. And it goes on, including the rec activity specialist, the rec services manager, and then in some of the facility staff, like the maintenance workers. So if you're out at Hagerman and we need to keep those bathrooms open, there's got to be someone to take care of those and clean those. It's about picking up the garbage on the facility. It's about having our parks guys go out there and actually take care of the turf, the baseline, chalking, all that other wonderful stuff. So it really does break down the actual cost to run these programs in much more detail, and you'll be seeing that here in the near future. So I'm happy to answer any questions. Oh, yes, thank you very much. So one of the concepts in recreation is the triangle that you'll see on page 10. We will be looking at this closer also with you and your input to really determine how these rates affect the community. We understand that anytime there's a rate change, it can be dramatic and challenging, but we also look at ways that subsidy makes sense in certain program areas. So you'll see on this triangle here, we have 5 different levels. We have an exclusive individual benefit. Now, it really depends on who you talk to, how you categorize certain programs as a highly individual benefit versus the bottom one, which is a community benefit. And so I'm going to throw out an example here that some can argue both sides. Swim lessons. Swim lessons, depending on who you are, could be considered an exclusive individual benefit because that person taking the swim lesson is benefiting it from that skill solely on their own. On the recreation side, the other side, I would say that we're potentially saving lives, saving the cost of ambulances, saving first responders by having a child go through swim lessons. So again, you can play both sides. It'll be up to the group to take forward to council at some point to decide where does swim lessons fit on this category, as well as a lot of our other programs as well. So that's one thing that we'll get into more and more as we go through the fee study.
Dennis, this is the draft with the most current information you have available, correct?
Correct.
I asked that prior to our next meeting, before discussing this, if you do have a final report, is to be sent earlier so that we have time to go over and provide some feedback.
Absolutely.
'Cause it's a lot of information.
Yes, we wanted to put this bug in your ear as we're continuing to work through the process. We'll get the updated and hopefully finalized report to you before we present again and go further into the details. This was an informational item to share with you to get your gears moving and start thinking about one of the projects that we're working on.
And you as a department are working on this, or have you hired an outside consultant?
This is through an outside agency. They've done not only our city, but many other cities. Again, the city traditionally goes through this every couple of years. The last time for Recreation and Parks was in 2019. It's right in line with our leisure needs assessment and our recent parks assessment. So this is all, it'll be great data to wrap this all together to be able to present a final report.
Thank you. Are there any questions or public comments? Thank you, Dennis.
Thank you.
I will now close the public comment period. Thank you. Next, we'll hear a report from our director and management staff. We'll start with the business manager's report. Mr. Neville Smita, please.
Thank you, Chair Lopez. Good afternoon, commissioners. So I'm going to be giving a very brief update on staffing that's occurred in October, and then have a bit more of an extensive discussion or presentation regarding park restrooms. So as you can see on the screen, in the month of October, we hired 8 new employees. 4 of them are sitting here today, and they'll be introduced later in the meeting. We had a couple of promotions, and then a few separated either onto other jobs or going back to college. That's a list of our current vacancies. Some we are actively recruiting for, including the program specialist and recreation activity specialist. Other ones we hope to be start recruiting for in the next month or so. And then, as I shared at our last commission meeting, some are just on hold as part of the budget balancing exercise. So today I'm going to be sharing with the commissioners, some and those who are in attendance, some challenges we've been facing with park restrooms over the last couple of years, many years, and we are hoping to provide information that you will find useful, and then hopefully in return you'd be able to perhaps provide some guidance as our advisory group if you have any thoughts or advice on how we can approach some of these challenges. So currently we have 20 parks that have restrooms that are cleaned every single day, once per day. We hire a contractor called ServiceStar to clean these restrooms, and in about an 8-hour period they can get to all 20 park restrooms throughout the city, and they're doing this each day. They start early in the morning and finish around 2, 3, sometimes 4 o'clock in the afternoon. The monthly cost of the contract is just shy of $15,000, which equates to $172,000 a year. And this is what gets us that one cleaning per day at a park restroom. When we have emergencies, something that needs to be dealt with right away, either park staff or facility staff will respond. And then at special events, usually facility staff are on hand at the special events to clean the restrooms. The restrooms are opened by either park staff or the contractor each morning, and then they're closed in the evenings by the city rangers. They'll go and do the rounds late in the evening to make sure that the restrooms are secure. This is what our park restrooms look like in the very, very, very beginning stages of either opening or installation, or that very heavy-duty cleaning. But unfortunately, these restrooms are met with many challenges, mostly related to vandalism and graffiti. This is a daily occurrence where restrooms are getting vandalized, either with amenities getting destroyed, fixtures getting smashed, or graffiti being planted all over the facilities. We get complaints very regularly from the patrons of the parks that are complaining about the bathrooms are unusable or they've been locked at 12 in the afternoon because of vandalism that's taken place. And so it's doing a disservice to the public when we are having to close restrooms early, or we're just not able to get to some of these emergencies quick enough. Another challenge that we're facing is after December, we're going to be out of money for paying for the contract for the park restrooms. And we'll talk about options later in the presentation, but we also do not have internal staffing that is available to take care of the cleaning of the restrooms, the maintaining of them, the policing of them, the ongoing checking up on the restrooms on a daily basis. And so this is one of those things where we're looking for guidance as to how we could approach beyond December. So I'm going to share some photographs of vandalism and graffiti of some of the park restrooms and that I think it's really important that you see and you get an idea of what we're dealing with pretty much every day. I do want to put a caution out there that if you are a sensitive viewer, that some of these images may not sit well with you. So as you can see, we have fixtures that get destroyed. That's a sink on the left-hand side, toilet stall getting vandalized with graffiti, lighting fixtures getting smashed, locks getting broken, trash being left on the floor, human waste, or sorry, not human waste, fecal matter being left on the floor. I guess they missed. And then that's a fire that's been, that was set alight, one of the trash cans outside one of the facility restrooms. And then we had a whole urinal completely destroyed. That wasn't too long ago, just a couple of weeks ago, I think, where that happened. Door handle being removed, more graffiti on the door, a toilet being smashed, more graffiti on the outside, trash being left outside. And so these are things that we see each day. And one of the challenges is that we can get the restrooms cleaned by our contractor, but within an hour or two, we're also going to get that phone call from the patrons saying, hey, you haven't cleaned the restrooms today, they're destroyed, they're broken, they're disgusting, and but we know the contractor was just there an hour or two before. And so because we do not have the staffing to police the restrooms all day long, this is the kind of thing that we're experiencing pretty much every day. How we respond to vandalism and graffiti, the vandalism is addressed as quickly as possible, soon after it's reported. The graffiti is cleaned up as soon as it's reported. Park staff are responsible for completing most of the fixes. Park staff, public works staff are in the graffiti team. They are all part of the graffiti abatement process. Usually it depends on who's available. Sometimes we have to close a restroom for a whole day after we've repainted some of the walls, after we've abated the graffiti just to allow the paint to dry. But then within a couple of days, that graffiti is returning. And we're looking at, and this is a very conservative number, about $200,000 a year that we're spending on taking care of vandalism and graffiti at our park restrooms. Some options to consider. We could consider asking for additional funds be allocated to our department so that we can continue to pay the cleaning contractor to continue to service our restrooms. Ideally, it would be twice a day and not just once a day, which would basically take the $175,000 a year to about $360,000 a year. But it will get us that second cleaning and another set of eyes on our park restrooms if we were to get allocated those extra funds. Or we bring it in-house, but again, we'll need additional funding to be able to hire permanent staff, to be able to purchase a new van, some more equipment, so that we can use our internal workforce to be able to maintain and clean the park restrooms so that they do look like the picture on the right. Some other alternatives, we do not get additional funding and we just close the restrooms due to ongoing vandalism, so that way we're not putting our patrons in a situation where it's unsafe due to the restrooms not being serviced. Another option would be we could redirect staff from other projects, from other facilities to focus on the restrooms, but then we're not able to do other things like, or we may not be able to do things like paint the ball fields as frequently or mow the grass as frequently, or we'd have to shut down facility rentals because those working at the rental facilities are now having to focus on restrooms. And so that's another option that we could exercise, but it will mean compromising other parts of the operation. And then, of course, the least desired is to leave the restrooms open without servicing, which obviously would create that major significant safety and environmental hazard. That completes my presentation on the current challenges we're facing with our park restrooms. I do have available to answer any questions myself. Gabriel Velasco is our facility supervisor. He oversees the maintenance of our restrooms and the contract with Service-Star. And then Sergeant Ruben Ramirez is here as well to answer questions, as he looks after the safety and security of our park restrooms.
Thank you, Neville. I was wondering why all the Rangers were here. I thought we were in trouble.
That comes later.
Thank you. This is heartbreaking to see the vandalism in our restrooms. I'm curious, have you reached out to surrounding cities to see if they have similar problems, and if so, what have they done?
So they do have similar problems. It doesn't seem to be as bad as ours. Even here in the city at Waller Park, they have an on-site staff there throughout the day that's checking the restrooms maybe 9 to 10 times a day instead of the one time a day. If you go over to the park in Napomo, they have a ranger on site as well all day that's checking the restrooms every half an hour. And I'm thinking that deters a lot of the activity that we saw up there. Unfortunately, we just don't have the staff to cover a park like Prescott Park for the full day, or the 22 other parks that we have for the full day.
Commissioners, do you have any questions before? No. I have a suggestion. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
I do have a question. I know that in the numbers, you mentioned something that this really cost the city a ballpark of $200,000. Have we tried to, one of the options that I did not see up here was, what about like supervision when it comes to like cameras and stuff like that? You know, usually these restrooms are close to some kind of hall or some kind of building. For example, at Atkinson's Park, I know that there's cameras outside of the building. That would be a perfect example of where you could possibly have some kind of camera system really deterring this kind of activity. Is that something that you are willing to navigate or just look into?
You want to address the camera situation?
And if so, the other part to my question is, do you think that that would exceed the $200,000?
So we do have cameras in the works right now. We're currently, we have some refurbished blue light cameras that the Santa Maria Police Department once had in use. So right now we're just trying to figure out which specific parks, and we do have a list of about 8. And the majority of the locations are the problem areas. It doesn't exceed the $200,000. It should help. The only negative to it is just being able to identify somebody and being able to respond in a timely manner.
Okay.
I have a comment.
And I think that's one of the challenges too, Commissioner Diaz, is the cameras are there and they can capture footage of any perpetrators, but it's that response. Is somebody actively watching the cameras 24/7 or watching the video the next day? And how quickly can we get to identifying? And so while it may not be $200,000, there's still going to be significant staff time contributing towards reviewing, identifying, following up if perpetrators are identified through the cameras.
Okay.
I have a question. The staff that's at the parks that's doing the maintenance, how much, I wouldn't say power, but how much can they do to deter if they do see a homeless person on site? Like, how much can they get involved? Because I did go to Bresker and I have gone to Miami, and there has been maintenance on site, and there hasn't really been any engagement within the maintenance staff and homeless people, as simple as, you know, you got to get out of here, you can't be here. So how much are they allowed to get involved?
So that's a great question. So when I took over the restroom contract about a year ago, I'm sorry, one of my questions was, you know, is the contractor really doing what we're contracting him to do? So myself and one of my crew leaders came in at 5 a.m, loaded up a van and said, we're gonna clean the restrooms for the day. First 2 restrooms we approached, Prescott Park, transients sleeping in the restroom. You know, we approach them, they get hostile. We call the Rangers. By the time they get out there, 20, 30 minutes, you know, that's 20, 30 minutes that we're not cleaning the restrooms, I'm picturing the contractor being delayed 20, 30 minutes. They come out, they get them out. We clean the restroom. Transient leaves, 20, 30 minutes later, they're right back in there. So in that, we went out and did the restroom cleaning for 2 days, 8.5-hour days, 30-minute break. We did all 22 restrooms. We ran into transient sleeping, restrooms locked with people sleeping in them. We had cigarettes thrown at us. We ran into every issue that you've seen in those pictures. So what's the solution? To me, you know, more staff out there, more patrol. A second cleaning would help. Having the Rangers lock the restrooms maybe earlier, like now that it's getting dark at 5, do we wait till 8 p.m. to lock them? Or do we lock them when it starts getting dark? That's why we're here, looking for guidance, looking for hopefully additional funding and staff.
Well, technically, I mean, the time change, doesn't it say like parks are closed at sunset?
Yeah, some parks say dusk, some parks say 8 p.m.
Oh, okay.
So it's a matter of signage as well too. So.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
So as far as a camera suggestion, you're absolutely right. It is going to require staffing to review and response time, but I do think it will lower some vandalism from people or transients, it seems like. I do agree on looking into that. Unfortunately, if you don't have the staff, which requires funding, any other solution will only work for a short period of time. You need a long-term solution for this. And either A, your short-term solution for now is closing the restrooms and doing a public notice to the public saying, hey, vandalism, A, B, and C, and we're working on it. Or B, only opening it during the times where perhaps the park is being rented by a party of some sort. Or C, seek funding to hire more rangers. It seems like a safety issue if a contractor approaches transients. I don't think that's something that you should do. I think a ranger is more than qualified to take care of a situation if it arises. So it seems like you have some work and convincing to do as far as funding is concerned, but that's my comments and questions.
I do have something to add, this is specifically for rangers. Do you guys have, I mean, not necessarily a list, but individuals that you have identified as the individual that you continuously see at different locations that vandalize different areas? Is the ranger, you know, are you guys able to take larger, not necessarily violations, but if you see, you know, a lot of the vandalism, it's usually a lot of the same writing in the same areas of town. It's usually one or two individuals, right? So in these parks, when, you know, things are vandalized, I think that with these cameras, and you eventually figure out who that person is, being in the parks all the time, I think that would just really facilitate identifying who that is.
Yeah, so we have a good understanding of who frequents the parks. It's just a matter of being able to prove it. If we do contact somebody that we suspect of, you know, vandalism, graffiti, you know, signs that we're looking for is possession of graffiti tools. Do they have a ledger? Do we have any prior knowledge? You know, basically when we do catch somebody, it's really a rare occasion. I want to say the last time we did it was about 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were lucky that code enforcement actually had an on view, and we were able to take the person into custody, and based on their statements, we were able to charge them. After that, we forwarded it to the district attorney's office, and it's pretty much up to them to decide if they're going to prosecute or not.
Okay.
We do have, I also oversee the graffiti department, and as you know, there's graffiti all over town. So we have a program called Graffiti Tracker, where every time we remove, say someone tags on the wall, we'll take a picture of it with our phone and download it into a program. So every instance of graffiti is in that Graffiti Tracker system. So say someone's tagging Neville all over town, and we finally catch Neville. We input his name in the system, and every incident that he's created comes up. Like Ruben says, we do refer him to the district attorney's office. And from my experience, I've been doing it for a long time. I don't remember the last time we saw a restitution check come back. They do it either community service, or because it's a minor, it's a slap on the hand. So we do have the tools in place. But once it's out of our hand, it's hard to get some restitution back. So.
What is the process for vandalism when it comes to graffiti? I know that there's you can go online and make a report, but what if that vandalism is on, say, a business? It's obviously not the city's duty to remove that. What is the process of removing that graffiti if it's not your responsibility now?
Yeah.
But it's still a very big eyesore in the community.
So when we started the program 20 years ago, the graffiti program, our goal was to remove everything, right? So obviously we have two full-time staff that does graffiti. Unfortunately, they're also our special event staff. They're our facility event staff. And when you see the nice concerts out there with the Wreck and Roll stage and the setup, they're also the two that do that setup. So those two guys are the ones doing graffiti all over town. The process now, when it's a private property, we refer to code compliance, and they've been really good working with the rangers and PD. Code compliance will send a notice to the business. It'll give them a certain amount of time to either remove it or fight the claim. You know, the businesses are never happy because why do I have to pay a fine because Neville came in and graffitied my building? So it's a process. It's sometimes a 30-day, 60-day process before they actually have to remove it and get a fine. And you know, when there's a car crews coming into town and there's a big graffiti on Broadway, we don't want to see that up there, so we take it upon ourselves to remove it as well. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I can tell you this, I will do my part in speaking to my councilwoman and also doing some sort of research to come back, hopefully, to you with something. So thank you for being up here and doing this. Any other comments or questions?
Thank you,
you.
Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you for your attention.
Okay. Next item.
Commissioner Lopez, for a minute. Ruben, do you want to go ahead and introduce your staff that's here? Because we do have some new ranger staff that I wanted to
Please.
have them take a second.
Thank you.
The mic. So to talk about, the need for staff, we were lucky to hire 4 new staff members to the Ranger Department. So Rick, if you could stand up, this is Rick Screeden. Rick is one of our security officers. He's a 32-hour position. So Rick's area of focus is going to be Town Center East parking structures, Town Center West, and the Transit Center, as well as the City Hall area right here. So basically, Rick's that high level of deterrence, high visibility patrol, and he's going to be a great asset to the downtown sector as far as deterring the crime. Ashley Harney. Ashley Harney is one of our new rangers. She's a full-time 40-hour ranger. And we have Jessica Torres. Jessica is a PSO 2. And we have Michael Enciso, who's also one of our PSOs. So I'm happy to announce that we have these new rangers. They're going to be going through the field training process, which is about 4 months. And once they complete it, we'll have the 3 additional rangers in the park system to kind of combat some of these problems that we're having right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, welcome. Okay, Mrs. Angela Osland, this is your turn. Division report, please.
All right. Thank you, commissioners. So really quickly, we have 4 projects that are going to City Council next week. I just wanted to highlight to you. Very exciting. We have the sports complex project going up for construction. So that'll be the award of the construction project. And the hope is to get that kicked off in the winter here, just a couple of more months, then move that project forward. The other projects that are up for award are Miami parking lot reconstruction. So that's taking the parking lot that's out by the community center, completely pulling it off and rehabbing it and making it nice and modifying the drainage to improve that area. We have Prescott Park parking lot rehabilitation, which includes doing some ADA upgrades at the entrance and making sure that the front entrance has some nice updated striping. And then the award of the East Taylor Street Pocket Park project. I know that one's been, people have been wondering where that's at, so we're hoping to get that awarded on the next City Council meeting as well, next week. The Urban Forest Management Plan and Parks Assessment Project, we're moving forward. We're going to hold a listening session on November 20th at 5 p.m. to about 6:30 p.m. That'll be at Elwyn Mussel Center. We will advertise this. There's a media release that's going out today, tomorrow. So we hope that we can get the word out for anybody to come in and who wants to make comment, particularly around the Urban Forest Management Plan and tree maintenance. That will help us go back to City Council and talk to them about municipal code updates and potential changes to our landscape standards. We have ongoing projects. So the Joy Pocket Park is under construction. If you've seen it, it's very exciting. Right now it's moving around a lot of dirt, but the next stage will be getting a playground in and getting some landscaping in. The Battles Road project is under construction. We've got some trees with some nice colorful pots out there. That was an area that has had graffiti in it, but we are doing our best to get in there and take care of that really quickly and find a solution so we can keep those boxes fresh and bright. The Japanese Community Center is making great progress. Again, there's been some minor delays, but we hope to have that project wrapped up in January. And then they'll start the next phase of landscaping that'll tidy it up and beautify the whole area. Vets Park was opened over the, just prior to DIA. So if you haven't had a chance to go out and take a look, there's kids climbing all over. It's been I see people in it every time I drive by there. So it's a really nice park. Just in terms of field closures, Hagerman will be closed for field renovations between December 23rd to January 26th, so that they can get in there and get that ready for the updated new season. You heard our presentation on restrooms and our graffiti cleanups. Parks Operations is putting up Christmas lights and ornaments. If you haven't seen folks down here, they're starting to put them up Broadway, so that's very exciting. The tree goes up on December 2nd, and the tree lighting is the 6th. Am I stealing your thunder? Okay. All right. Let's see what else I have here. General maintenance around the parks is ongoing. Again, same type of challenges that you've heard, but we're just doing a great job keeping up a little bit of everywhere. And then City Hall renovations are going to be back in the swing of things after the Christmas decorations are up, so probably towards the end of December and January, you'll start to see the side of City Hall and then the back side under construction. Rangers have been in the riverbed doing riverbed postings, and Parks operations have been out taking a look at potential cleanup sites, and then working with the other municipalities to help that. And above and beyond that, I will turn it back over to you for any questions.
Thank you, Mrs. Osland. Are there any questions or comments, commissioners?
That's all looks great. The park is
I do have a little comment. We were there for I hope everybody got to see it, Day of the Dead. And somebody was saying, well, the bartender in the bar was saying that there's it's got the Marines, the Air Force, it's got everybody but the Army. Are you guys aware of that?
It is on order,
No
yes,
Army,
and
Army
I
sticker.
bug our staff weekly.
Okay.
So yeah.
I guess it's not a good time, as long as you brought it up, though.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you asked.
We were also asked about if there could be a bathroom, a restroom at Vets Hall. I know. Yeah. It was a young mom with little kids, and she says, well, we have to go all the way home. I mean, she lives in the neighborhood, but anyway, so I said, well, I'll throw that out there. It's out there.
Thank you, Commissioner Carey. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Mr. Smitherman, your Recreation Division report, please.
Thank you, Commissioners. Yes, we will be adding some new artwork also to the Vets Memorial Park. While the main construction project is completed, we are continuing to do some other projects. We'll have some great greenery along the back fence. A new sculpture will be installed, as well as some other visual arts that you'll see happening here soon as well. So although we're open and want the public to use it, we are still continuing to work on that with some of the finer details. So, and also if you have not had the opportunity, across the street from Crossroads Basin, which we lit up a couple weeks ago, is the new playground at Fletcher Park. It's been getting rave reviews. I get to drive by it a couple times a day, and I've never seen it so busy. So there are people playing on it nonstop. So it's a great playground to check out, and we have a wonderful frog there. I've nicknamed him Fletcher Frog after Fletcher Park, so check him out as well. He's huge. So let's see. We have 15 utility art boxes that are now underway being painted. I should actually take that back. We have 13. I did have an artist that was no longer available, so we'll have to fix that somehow. This process has been a very long process working with Caltrans. We started, I think our Public Art Committee approved this artwork, I want to say February of March of last year. We got our permit in November, a year later. So we were lucky to have the artist that stayed with us starting to do the work. So they started with 6 boxes last weekend. Again, working with that many artists is like herding cats. So we really do have the majority of them starting in the next week or two, and then the last one is scheduled to be done on December 7th. So check out all those boxes. They're starting from Broadway and Presker all the way to Carmen Lane. So it's quite a few boxes there. So check it out. Stephanie is spearheading the department's Christmas float. We're excited. I was able to sit on a meeting today, and they're very creative. So if anyone is interested in hanging out on a Christmas float or walking next to the Rec and Parks float, please reach out to Stephanie. She'd love to have you. As I mentioned earlier, we are in the process of the leisure needs assessment. We're still in the beginning, but some of you may have already or will be soon called. You will all have strong input on that assessment. And then we're going to be waiting till after the holidays to go out for public meetings. We'll be doing stakeholder interviews. We'll be doing, obviously Karen will be assisting with some outreach to the public at different events and activities, doing surveys. We're gonna have a whole website dedicated to this project, so people are gonna be able to go on. It is translatable into 52 languages, which is really nice. So we're really going to be striving to get input from the community that we don't normally hear from. And I know I could call a bunch of our current participants or our soccer players. That's great. We want to continue to hear from them as well. But we're also looking to reach out to the audience that do not partake in our current programs, activities, and events to see what they're interested in. So you should be getting those phone calls soon. Cindy Hoskins is helping with this. So if you hear from her, just know that she is with Rec and Park. She's a retiree coming back to help with this. So she'll be reaching out. The fall and winter recreation guide is being worked on right now. We have a ton of programs and activities for fall and winter, so be prepared for that. Again, we are going to stick with digital. We did print 250 copies in English and Spanish just to have. We put those at the Elwyn Muscle Senior Center, at the Abel Maldonado Center, and then we keep some at the office. If you have a place that you're interested in grabbing a handful, those come in both English and Spanish. And are interested in spreading the word, we'd be happy to get you a stack. It is a digital book, so we do QR code it. We make it available through our social media sites, the city website. We're using Peach Jar now, which is a way to get to the students in the Santa Maria Bonita Elementary School District as well as the Orchid School District. So it's a direct email to those parents. In a way for them to understand what we're doing, what's going on, and hopefully get their youth and families to participate in our programs. As we're getting closer to fall and winter, please remember that the youth center is open during breaks. We do open early at noon. We don't figure many teens wake up before noon, but we do open at noon, and we'll be open until 8 o'clock in the evening during the winter break. So please share that as well. And then another great event by Stephanie and her crew, Machado Plaza. We're having a winter event, and I know there's a really cool name for it. I'm just not going to remember right now. But that's going to be on December 21st with vendors. There's a trolley ride that you can pay $5 to see all the lights that were part of the Light Sites Holiday Nights contest. And she's got vendors out there. We'll have kids' activities and snow. So lots of snow. So come out to Machado Plaza on the 21st from 5 to 9. I know I'm underselling it, but Stephanie's here if you have any questions as well. So that's my recreation report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Dennis. Oh, go ahead.
The Machado Plaza sounds like a Hallmark.
That's what she's aiming for, yes.
Thank you. That sounds great.
Dennis, you got a shout out from all the artists on their social media for finally going through.
In a good way.
In a very good way.
Great. I'm glad to hear it.
This time it was.
Thank you.
This time. But there.
Someone sent that to me and I didn't want to open it because I was like, oh no.
Afraid?
And she said, oh, no, it's good. So
Yes,
thank you.
it's good. They did say something really nice. You said the last one will be painted, or few will be painted on December 7th. That's the Parade of Lights, just FYI, on Broadway.
Thank you. I'll remind the artists to wrap it up before dark.
Yeah.
The nice thing is they pretty much have been done by 4. We encourage them to be off the sidewalk before it even gets dark. Being so close to Broadway, it can be a safety concern. A lot of the boxes are offset from Broadway, so it's a little bit safer, but some of them are directly on the street, so we do get nervous for them. I was out there both days and was making sure that everyone was safe on Saturday and Sunday. We'll continue to do that as they paint.
Thank you. And Shannon, can you send us a reminder for the Christmas tree? I always make it up, really just for the hot chocolate, so. Thank you. Any comments?
Yeah, I wanted to comment about the art boxes. Great idea. I think I'm so excited finally happening. But one of the things that I pulled over while someone was doing their art project, and they did state that they were being beaten up by the sun. And so I said, do you want me to go home and get you my cover, you know? And so so I would maybe mention that to the others that are coming. You said there was 6, and then you'll be doing the other individuals.
Right.
I would heavily mention having some kind of canopy because they looked a little parched.
I think they underestimated it. When I went out there on Saturday morning, I was out there between 8 and 10, and I was freezing. No sun out, a little drizzle even, and I was like, oh no. And then when I went back in the afternoon, I was dying. So yes, I will continue to remind them. We go through an orientation. Again, this process took a very long time. Not blaming Caltrans. So we did go through an orientation. We warned them about sunscreen. I usually take sunscreen with me and water and all that wonderful stuff for them. But the tent is theirs to remember. It was so long ago that I think that they didn't go through the list again. So I will remind the ones though that are coming up just to be prepared just in case. Thank you for that.
Any other comments? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we saved the best for last. Alex Posada is our department director. For those who do not know who he is, he left for a little bit to become city manager, but that was too boring.
Yeah.
And he's back to be our department director. Welcome back.
Yay.
Thank you, Commissioner Lopez. So, commissioners, new commissioners, welcome. Looking forward to working with you. Older commissioners, thank you for continuing the work, keeping things going. More tenured commissioners, how's that?
That went over my head.
Just a couple of things for you. I'm trying to ease back into the department and things that are going on. We did have a meeting just before this meeting with Southside Little League representatives about Seamus Park and their desire to get that project moving. That meeting was organized by Councilmember Soto. So we had a good conversation with Public Works was also represented. So we came out with a plan, as it were, to start moving that project forward. The limitations there obviously are the scope of the job and the money associated with it. But more to come on that. I was happy to hear about the construction projects that Angela mentioned coming up, specifically the DeJoy Pocket Park. That park, has been in the planning for at least 4 years. Really, and I'm going to shout out to our past city manager, Jason Stillwell. He was really the advocate for the pocket parks and for securing the funding that those parks at Taylor and DeJoy actually were included in our ARPA allocations. So he was a very big advocate for those. So I'm happy to see them getting to move on. We are considering our December meeting being a holiday meeting. We usually do some kind of a lunch or a meeting along those lines and invite not only the commissioners but our play board members to have a conversation about the year and how things have gone. Shannon has that scheduled for?
10th.
December 10th.
December 10th at?
A Cool Hand Luke's.
Cool Hand Luke's, so, yes. 11 a.m.
11 a.m.
Yes.
Or 12, sorry, after
12,
this
11.
meeting.
Yes, so at 11 a.m. on December 6th, Cool Hand Luke's, please
December 10th.
put that on your schedule.
December 10th.
December 10th, sorry, thank you.
Yes.
I don't know where the 6 came from.
So, the question is, do we meet here first at 11?
We will post it as your meeting location will be at Cool Hand Luke's, and so you can go directly there. There will be, you have to call a meeting to order, and then you need to adjourn.
You sure you want to do it at 11 a.m. instead of 6 p.m.? I'm kidding. Okay, sounds good.
Yes.
So show up at 11 or 12?
So 11 a.m. is the meeting, 12 p.m. is the luncheon.
The lunch.
Yes. Let's see, what else do I have here? Just touch base. I think it kind of came up in the conversation that, you know, the role of commissioners is to communicate back to their council members, you know, what's going on at these meetings. I certainly encourage you to do that. Everyone has heard of the city's, you know, financial problems within the general fund. So there is a lot of reality to that. Sitting in the city manager chair gave me the opportunity to look very deeply into the situation. And it is a situation that's serious and that it needs to be addressed. It's not unsurmountable. It certainly seems that way at times, but it's not. I think city staff has been very teamwork oriented in coming up with solutions. And so, you know, we'll be working on that. The solutions won't be easy. I think a lot of those things that, you know, typically when it comes to budget reductions, government in general looks at those departments that are frill, and sometimes Rec and Parks is considered a frill program, libraries. So it's, again, your role as commissioners to advocate for the jobs that we do in the community that we serve, you know, becomes even more important than it is just in general. Your other role is to interact with the community. Many of you do that through your own organizations that you work with, your families. We really want you to talk to people. Get out there and ask the questions and make yourself available. We're happy to provide you with information about what the department is doing, handouts, you know, when we do community events or the informational fairs around the community, you know, we'll ask you, we'll invite you. We also invite you to our staff grouping meetings so that you can be recognized for being commissioner, and then you can also, you know, meet our staff and get a connection with them. One of the reasons all the rangers were here was for that purpose, so that they know you and they understand, you know, what you do. In closing, I think I would just say that I think this year is going to be an opportunity for some change to come to the department. I think it's an opportunity for us to look more at how we can do things better. Dennis's comments on, you know, the fee study, the programs that we do, our partnerships with other organizations, they're going to be key, especially over the next couple of years with the way the budget is looking. We were fortunate this round of budget to add the ranger positions. Mr. Smita and Neville has been working really hard on with our HR department on recruitments for other positions. So I'm cautiously optimistic that things will pan out. I want to thank Angela and the team for doing a good job in keeping the department moving forward. It was always a challenge anytime, but especially when you're stepping in after being here for about 3 months, you know, to step in and fill in the role of director. I truly appreciate that. So that was it for me. Look forward to working with the new commissioners and you tenured commissioners. I look forward to that too. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Posada. Any comments, questions? Okay. Now we have our last item on the agenda, which is Commissioner's Report. I'll start with Commissioner Carey. Do you have anything to share with us?
Oh, I have a couple things.
Okay.
Geez, I've got too many notes now. We were all mostly at the same things this time, which is really cool that everybody's so engaged already. I love it. If you haven't driven by the Enos House lately, and it was mentioned, it's amazing. The other thing is at Jim May Park on the north end of town, we have this fountain. I didn't mention it last month. I figured somebody else would. But it's beautiful. The whole park looks like a different place now. Have you seen it? It's just so great. Yeah, so come by Jim May Park. It's remarkable. It's like a huge upgrade. And there's a light on. We have a light at night now.
And the beautiful fountain.
Yeah, it's so great. We have a couple other things that we need to talk about. Let's see, Enos House, Jim May Fountain. That, I'm on that, I don't think I mentioned this. There's a group called the CPRS, California Parks and Recreation, is that it? Society? Is it Society? Okay.
CPRS.
Anyway, it's where they do a conference every year, and you learn a lot there. And I'm actually on the advocacy board. They've just created a new component, and it's the advocacy board, which is going to be focused on partially what commissioners do, and because you're a commissioner, you don't really know, the enormity of it, or what you can do with that position. So that's going to be one of the focuses of this, and for many years it's been lacking, and not just, I'm not talking about specifically here, but statewide. So I just wanted to throw that out there, that's going to be a component, and we're working on that. The conference is in March in Sacramento. Let's see, I'm trying to think, I thought there was one. Oh, sorry, there is. Mayor Patino asked me to mention the parking situation at Veterans Hall. It's been mentioned over and over, but she just wanted me to throw it out there to see if anybody's thinking about it, because I know there's a plaza now. It's, the street's cut off, and a lot of the bar patrons are complaining that that it's harder for people to get to the bar and drink and then come out. That's just so.
It's probably not a good idea to drink and drive. But
well, you think, but
they should walk to the bar.
I really got that right now.
Yeah, well, but it's a, how do you put it? A veterans bar, or is that specifically what?
It's the American Legion, yeah.
So they're retirees. We went in during the Day of the Dead, and everybody was buying us alcohol and it was 3:00 in the afternoon. It was packed. Everybody was friendly.
I was at the same place. I didn't see it. I was there too. Or no one bought a drink, and I did not.
Should have come with us.
I was there too. We should have gone with her.
Alice knows everybody. I'm just saying, it was fun. But it was really, it's a cool little place though. We had a friend that recently passed, and so we went to have a beer in his name. But the funny thing was he was the guy that kept saying, "Oh, you Recreation and Park City people are all on the same page. You don't want us to have a place in front to park." And so, anyway, in honor of Russ Weed. And
Mr.
Patino.
Weed, thank you.
But I know I just had to bring it up. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Carey. Commissioner Batterson?
The only thing I went to was, the park meeting. And now I forgot what it was called. But anyway,
The leisure assessment.
I was glad I was able to sit through it. And I'm feeling a little bit better, getting there. So hopefully I can get back in the swing of things soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Batterson. Commissioner Diaz, do you have anything to share with us?
I also attended what was it? Leisure needs assessment.
Yes.
So yeah, that's what I was.
Thank you.
It's the only update I have.
Commissioner Godino?
So I was there too at the leisure assessment meeting, but I also went to the Day of the Dead. The Day of the Dead as one of the judges for the elementary schools, and it was just an amazing event. And I want to congratulate the ladies and the staff that was there and that organized the whole thing. It was amazing, honestly. Being that I lived here my whole life, I've never really gone to one of these, and this is my first time. And these altars for the Day of the Dead for the kids in elementary school, I was crying. I mean, these kids, and sometimes they're kids that they may be Hispanic or maybe that, in that culture, but they don't know about the altars. So it was a great experience. It was a great event. And there was a lot of people. There was a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of community, and even people that don't live in that side of town. They came to the event. So it was an amazing event. And I thank you guys so much for having that, because I talked to a lot of families that I know, and they said, that they felt seen. They felt seen because of the culture, and because of the Day of the Dead. So they were very grateful for the city and the Recreation Park to make that happen. And also the other event that we went to is the lights at Crossroads. We didn't get to see the ones on Adam Basin, but we got to see the ones on Crossroads. And I have to say, I was like a little girl, seeing this, like the kids that were there that were practicing, that have been practicing in this field without lights. And I have seen them with, their parents, with their cars lights turned on, or, flashlights, or, just struggling for the time being because they needed to practice. And so for them to have lights on, and they were just screaming their hearts out. They were amazed. They were amazed. And they were like screaming and yelling and yay. And they were super happy with what you guys did. And I was too, because I have lived there my whole life. And I know since the Crossroads was done, the Basin was done, when the homes next to it were built, soccer has been there, or, outside sports have been out there, but with no lights, and it's been 20 years. So I congratulate Parks and Rec for everything that they did to make that happen. And my dad, being that he played soccer since he was 16 years old here in Santa Maria, I had to send him video. I'm like, Dad, and because he wasn't in town, because he's a truck driver and he was in Texas, I had to you got to see this. You're not going to believe this, what just happened. And so it's an amazing, amazing experience. And I have to reiterate to the community, and hopefully the community sees this video, because they need to understand that if they do not speak to the Parks and Rec, to this city, of what they need, or what they need for their kids, for themselves, for adult programs, nothing gets done. And they need to come and speak. You need to speak. Because if we don't hear you, nothing gets done. So we need the community to be more active. They need to be more involved in these meetings, in the city council meetings. And because it's very simple to complain behind the scenes, but when you do it in front of a microphone in the 15-minute public comment period, things get done. So, and it's also a big help with the Parks and Recs, because if the city tells the entire city council what's needed for Parks and Rec, they'll listen and they'll allocate more funds to what is needed in this community. And I thank you, everyone, for what they've done. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I as well attended a few events. I loved Flip the Switch. It was very cold though, and there was no hot chocolate, but that's okay. I got to see, there's people practicing, kids, and as soon as they flipped the switch, it was beautiful. It was so beautiful. I'm telling all the people that were here. It's funny. So you all witnessed what I witnessed. But this is everyone who hopefully will watch this later. It was a beautiful moment to see just the joy on their faces once the switch, even, I think she was crying, I don't know what she was doing back there. Her video was not of the lights, but of random things. But it was beautiful. So I ran into many commissioners, actually. Were we recently at the
we went to that
community
too.
Workshop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's part of my report.
We had a community workshop for Blocks Grants and Advisory Committee.
Yeah.
And just to see the needs of how HUD should distribute the funding locally. So that was fun to attend and to see the different perspectives of what the community really want and need. And I think our winner was single family homes, more of those, so, among many things. And then the Day of the Dead, I agree. It was a very touching moment for me. I cried. I actually started doing it in my house, an altar, an ofrenda, because of Coco. So that was nice. Let me ask you a question, Stephanie. How does one, or maybe Dennis, participate, not necessarily the schools, but individuals?
You mean as part of the
To create
community altars?
an altar, yes.
Yeah, we did a PSA this year asking people to participate, and they reached out to rnpinfo@cityofsantamaria.org, and they can actually get an altar space for free. And we're actually expanding on that for next year. So it'll be sorry.
We won't tell anyone.
Stop recording. A 2-night or a 2-day event. So they'll get to set up, and then we'll do the Aztec celebration with them in private, so it can be a little more intimate, and then they won't have to break down their altar until the end of the event. So they actually get 3 days.
Oh, beautiful.
Thank you. And Dennis, I have a question for you. You mentioned a while back that the Japanese Center has some sort of sponsorship package, or you can sponsor a room. Is that still up for grabs? I had someone ask me the other day if it was in the hundred thousands of dollars or $20,000. I'm like, I'll find out for you.
So I do know that the sponsorships that we have available are for the Enos House right now, and we just finalized that package. The sponsorships range modest amounts, a couple $100, up to the higher amounts for naming the facility, the boardrooms, the bride's room, I'm trying to think of what we named all these rooms, sorry. But those are available. We're just finalizing the design of the package, and then we'll get those distributed. But the actual community center itself, all those were assisted through the Japanese Community Center nonprofit group, and those have all been sold.
Okay. So the sponsorship package is for the Enos House?
Correct.
Once it's complete, if you can share that.
Absolutely.
And that concludes our meeting. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and meeting adjourned. See you next month.
Thank you.
My phone was going off the hook. My kids are in aftercare.
Mm-hmm.